famous World of Outlaws 4 abreast pace lap as we get ready to start the biggest sprint car race in history, the Coors Knoxville Nationals. The folks, they love this start, and look at this. The wave comes to Knoxville, Iowa, Steve Evans.
That's right. The fans, they're saluting the racers as well. It's always a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful night on a tremendous racetrack. Number 1 on the pole, Steve Kinser. Boy, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch him, Brock. Jeff Swindell says he can run with him. Bobby Davis Jr. hopes that he can.
Mark Kinser, one of the Kinser family. Jimmy Sills, the quick man here. Dave Blaney, Ron Schumann, who says he's got some problems, not too confident. Kelly Kinser in the 20K car. We've seen him run well here. Sammy Swindell, we know how good he is. Alongside him, Brad Doty.
Swindell, however, a few weeks ago hit the wall head-on his home track in Memphis. The steering broke in his car, and he is driving with a very sore shoulder. He said it's painful every inch of the way. Right.
We just saw Shane Carson and Rick Unger dominate this B main. Danny Smith, remember, he ran third. Joe Garrity fourth there. That's a good field. Believe me, there's some very strong runners out here. But as you said, can anybody catch that 11 car? Remember, he said the combination, Steve Kinser and his uncle Carl Kinser, this is nearly a decade that they've run together, and boy, I'll tell you what, nobody knows the combination better than that pair.
30 laps of racing. This is what the crowd came to see. The A-Main, the Knoxville Nationals. Steve Kinser on the pole, Jeff Swindell outside in the orange car, and it is Steve Kinser leading them into turn 1, out of turn 2. Trying to stay low is Jeff Swindell, but he is past Brock.
He sure is. It's Bobby Davis Jr., another Memphis race driver, one of the best ones, taking over the second spot. And leading lap number 1, Steve Kinser. Right behind him, Bobby Davis Jr. And look at this, Jimmy Sills challenges Swindell for the third spot.
Just a ballet going on for that third spot. First one is high, then the other one high. That is Jimmy Sills being challenged on the inside by Jeff Swindell, the 1 car, and this time Sills takes it over. He is in the 3rd position.
Now watch Jeff Swindell, Steve. He's running very low on this racetrack. The fast guys seem to be able to run that high groove, but here comes Jeff back again. But Sills stays high and holds on to that 3rd spot.
Well, it appears that he scrubs off so much speed staying low like that, Brock, that he can make up a few car lengths in the turn, but he loses it right back on the straightaway. Doesn't have the momentum coming out of the corner.
Well, that's a handling problem. I'm sure Jeff would like to run high if the race car would permit him. There's the 51 car. That is Mark Kinser, now moving into challenge Swindell.
And that red 56 car you saw, Kenny Jacobs, he is back in the 6th position. But the battle right now between Mark Kinser and Jeff Swindell. Swindell is trying to go high now to take that line. He gets a little bit too high up into the marbles. The 51 car, Mark Kinser, goes underneath and takes the position.
Now here is the 18 car of Brad Doty, one of the favorites in this race. He's sitting in the 11th spot. He is chasing Kelly Kinser in that 20K car. Right behind them in the 12th spot is Lee Brewer in the number 1 car. There is Leland Spadden getting high and almost losing it in turn number 4. And Lee Brewer bounces off him, but keeps on going, and no yellow, Steve.
No yellow, both drivers continue. But the 1ST white car driven by Lee Brewer, they lost some positions. They were running in 12th, had that little brush up with McSpadden, and that put them back a few places.
So here comes Lee trying to make up some distance. That yellow car, that 49 car, is Danny Lasowski, who is from Dover, Missouri, trying to move through the field. The field is spread out all the way around. There's the leader, Steve, the 11 car, Steve Kinser, and he is now moving through lap traffic.
That is the 2S car, the white machine of Steve Siegel. He now goes a lap down, and coming up in Kinser's sights will be the 1ST car of Lee Brewer, who had that little problem with McSpadden, and also the 6R white car of Danny Smith. Those are the next 2 cars that he will attempt to lap. When you get into this kind of traffic, though, suddenly your lead can erode pretty quickly.
Oh, and it can be destroyed, as we saw happen with Bobby Davis Jr. in an earlier race there. So he has to be very cautious threading his way through these slower automobiles.
And there's a lot of them. He's got Shane Carson in the 10 car, you can see right there, and on the inside, the 1ST, the white machine of Lee Brewer, as they fling themselves into turn 1, and Kinser puts a couple of wheels in the infield, maybe a little too anxious trying to get around. And here comes Brad Doty. Doty in the number 18 car, the blue and silver machine. Really, Brock has not moved up as much as he had hoped to early on. He's 10th, chasing that white machine of Dave Blaney, the 48 car.
So Dave Blaney sitting in 9th spot right now is giving Brad Doty all he asked for is they sweep down into turn number 1, and Doty goes low. Can he do it? Yes. Moves by Blaney and takes over that 9th spot. So Brad Doty, for the time being, continues to move through the field, but look at this. Dave Blaney comes right back at Doty on the low side, Steve, and may take that 9th spot back.
But Doty had far more acceleration out of the turn, Brock. He's going to make up for any maneuver that Blaney may have made going low. Now, Blaney is going to try the same kind of a philosophy on Brad Doty, but Doty is going to hold on to that position.
Yep, he's got a little bit more power than Dave tonight, and that car's really well hooked up. So Doty rides a 9th spot here.
He is closing on 24D, that gray machine of Ronnie Daniels. Daniels in the 8th position. Brad is starting to execute very well here now. So far, he has not had to contend with a whole lot of traffic. He's been able to pick his spots and doing it beautifully.
So there is Brad Doty in the 18 car, moving into challenge for that 8th spot. Doty using that cushion perfectly as he rides that high groove. There's the 24 car, Ronnie Daniels. And Daniels right now is about a 6-car length lead on Doty, and we'll see whether he can hold it.
Brock, we have got a caution flag out all of a sudden. The yellow flag is waving. The lights are on around the circuit. It does not appear to be any kind of a crash. We have just got a car. In fact, Joe Garrity, the white 33 car, is up against the wall in turn number 2. He's in a rather dangerous position, so wisely they put up the yellow. The cars will circulate around until he gets towed in.
So, tough break for Joe Garrity. That'll put him out of the contest, so to speak. 16 laps are left. Steve Kinzer continues to circulate here. And now, while we got a little break in the action, why don't we go to Steve Evans, who continues his tour, Duncan Hines tour of Knoxville.
Dingus Bar, not 100 yards from the fence in turn number 1. And it's here that a lot of the fans, and crews for that matter, like to come after the races, have a couple of brewskis, bench race a bit about what happened. But don't come in here looking for fried cheese or nachos or a nice glass of French Chablis. This is a real man's kind of a bar. If it's cold beer you want, you've come to the right place. Or maybe a good pool challenge back in the room, or stuff some quarters into the jukebox. And on the walls you'll find a lot of sprint car memorabilia, posters, and so forth. In fact, they even sponsor one of the cars. You know, this used to be considered a little bit of a rowdy joint, but that all ended with the drought of '81. That brought a stop to the wet T-shirt competition.
And a black day it was here in Knoxville. As we're almost ready to get started again, they cleared away Garrity, towed him into the infield, and we've got the standings. Kinzer, Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinzer, Jimmy Sills, and Jeff Swindell, top 5 here. So all have a shot at the victory with 16 more laps under green, all set to start. So Steve Kinzer leads him down the back straightaway and gets on the throttle into turn number 3. Steve Evans.
Now that red 7TW car right there, that is the lap car of Rick Unger. To go back and find second place, let's see how far we have to do it. Bobby Davis Jr. in the 6th red car right there. So Steve Kinzer has a significant lead right after the restart. And also, back in the field a bit, some good battles going on. The 51 white car, Mark Kinzer right there. He's in the 3rd position. Jimmy Sills, the track record holder, trying to take that away. Also, Jeff Swindell involved there. That's the best race on the track right now.
It sure is. And really, second place is up for grabs. Steve Kinzer's got himself a clear track right now and is able to move out a little bit. But look at Young's, Kinzer, and Jimmy Sills go at it.
Well, Sills appears to have that combination back that he ran so well with in qualifying. He's not up front, but he certainly is challenging back in that 4th position. And he and Mark Kinzer having quite a tussle here. The orange car and the white 51 machine. Now, Sills almost got into the right rear wheel of Kinzer, but he stood on the brakes just for a second and got away from him. That cost him a little bit of speed. He's now trying to make that up by out-driving Kinzer through the turns.
But Mark Kinzer showing all the savvy of a veteran. In fact, some of the savvy of that older cousin of his who's leading the race. Goes down low. Jimmy Sills stuck in a little bit of traffic and loses some places here, or loses a little bit of an advantage as he dives underneath Danny Lasowski to stay right on Mark Kinzer's tail. Well, these guys working their way through slower traffic. As we said earlier, Steve Kinzer has himself a relatively open track up ahead.
What a testimony to the skill of these drivers, Brock, to put this many of them out here on this giant racetrack, put up the kind of money they're racing for, the prestige, and not have it get any more physical than it is. They're just so skilled, they're just keeping away from confrontations by good driving.
Well, they don't like to bump into each other either, Steve, as these cars are so fast and so twitchy that one miscue, you can put yourself right into the fence. As Brad Doty goes way up against the fence in turn number 1, could take that 9th spot away from Ronnie Daniels. They've been struggling the whole race, Steve.
Now the white car we see there is 2S Steve Siegel. He's a lap car. Sammy Swindell had a terrific restart and is up to 7th position. That is the one car. He is running all by himself out there right now in 7th. But look at Ronnie Daniels in the 24 car. He has retaken 9th position from 18 Brad Doty. Doty doesn't like that at all, but gets squeezed up against the fence and has to lift.
Well, Ronnie Daniels is taking that low side on this racetrack and holding off Doty, but there comes Doty back at him up on top again. What a race.
And just behind them, that's the leader, Steve Kinser, the 11 car. He is about to lap all of them. You talk about insult to injury to be running as hard as Brad Doty is and get lapped by the leader.
Well, it just shows how just potent that combination of the Kinsers is, as that 11 car just working absolutely perfectly. Here he comes, that beautiful high-riding number 11 car as he comes by Daniels and now moves in on Brad Doty. Down underneath Doty and takes him relatively easily, Steve. That's hard to believe, isn't it? As you say, as hard as Brad seems to be running.
Oh, yeah, and you're right. The combination of the Carl Kinser horsepower and chassis. Look at this race for the 4th position. There's 1T, the orange car of Jeff Swindell. And here, 56 red, Kenny Jacobs gets underneath them. And Jimmy Sills also for that 4th position.
So, Jacobs running very well as Jeff Swindell and Jimmy Sills seem to be faltering a little bit. It could be tire wear, it's hard to say, but both of them who started very well have now fallen off the pace a little bit.
And you wonder why Jimmy Sills, who qualified number 1, can't match those kind of times? Well, that was another day and another racetrack. These tracks have a different personality every day, depending on the rain, the wind, the heat. It's all a big factor.
It sure is, and you've got to guess right. And remember, that's what Steve Kinser said with you, Steve. He said, maybe Carl and I are a little bit better than reading these racetracks than anybody else. And that is such a critical factor because not only will the racetracks change, but the setup changes throughout the race. And a guy like Kinser can make cockpit adjustments, oftentimes maybe a little bit better than anybody else. There he is. There's your leader, running an absolute masterful race here at Knoxville.
Even the wings on these cars are cockpit adjustable. And as they go into the turns right there, you can see the wing go down a few degrees to get the downforce in the turns where they want it. Now as Steve Kinser, who is lapping Jeff Swindell, goes down the straightaway, they'll take that tilt back out of the wing.
Well, Jeff's car is not working well at all. You can see him bobble going into that corner. So Swindell falling off the pace, obviously with a car that is not handling. Believe it, Steve, any one of 1,000 little things can go wrong with these things to make them not work right. Steve
Kinser is just about 17 seconds away from history. He could be, this is the last lap, he could be the winningest driver in the history of the Coors Knoxville Nationals at 5. And right now, Brock, I'd bet on it. Well, he can coast on from here as he comes down low through turn number 3, sweeps high off turn 4, and takes the checkered flag. A dominating performance by Steve Kinser off the pole to lead every lap. Well, you saw it, an exercise in sprint car domination by Steve Kinser. Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinser, Kenny Jacobs, and Jimmy Sills round out the top 5 in this prestigious field. And now let's go to Steve with the winner. 30 laps of perfect driving have made Steve Kinser the winningest racer ever in the Knoxville Nationals. What a ride, what a drive, what a show.
Well, this thing's just fun to drive right here. It really works good. I don't know, it's awful fast.
You know, you get out and ask your crew if there was any pressure on you. Let me tell you, there was. Nobody close.
Well, it's like I said, we've been running really good all year, and that damn Carl Kinser is tough.
Boy, yes. Uncle Carl, he had some horsepower in this thing, and you're both going to make a pretty nice bank deposit. A little over $30,000.
Yeah, that's not bad. We'll take it.
Okay. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve Kinser, what a sprint car driver. Let's go to Brock Yates with second place.
Oh, Bobby Davis Jr. out of the car. Bobby, good hard race for second. Good jump on the start, but then Steve just seemed to be able to drive away from everybody.
Well, I guess that motor's really running in that thing. It's been running all year, and well, you can see tonight, every lap, he just kept on going. You know, it's like running out on the expressway, and he just kept pulling and pulling.
Yeah, maybe that little yellow, you thought maybe always on a restart there's always a chance, but not tonight, huh?
Well, no, not really. Well, you always hope that, but there was about 5 or 6 lap cars in between us, and he had the line to get up top quick, and I had to kind of slide underneath him and catch the cushion coming off, and the thing's just running.
Rig strength seemed to be pretty good. There are a lot of everybody. You seem to be working high, though. Most of the fast guys the grooves seem to work up a little bit.
Well, yeah, you know, you try to lean against the cushion as much as you can, you know, and try to save your tires. You try to go with the softest tires you could. And but we felt good. We can run right through the middle, right around the bottom. We really felt